My name's Juliana, and where do I begin? My husband Craig and I decided to move our lives and our son to the island of Sardinia in Italy, my father's homeland. Join us on our new journey as I share my culture, heritage, and passion for all things Simply Sardinian. Good morning and welcome to another rainy edition of the Simply Sardinian series. The weather here doesn't seem to be getting much better. This has just been crazy, absolutely crazy. I feel like I could be in Scotland at the moment. So yeah, we haven't really been able to get out and do much yet again. So I think today is going to be a bit of a cooking day. Haven't done much of that recently, so I think we will just have a rainy Sunday at home and do a bit of a cook-off. I was so excited this morning when I woke up. I opened up the blinds and there was beautiful sunshine streaming through the bedroom, and I thought, oh my god, this is so lovely. And within about 10 minutes it was pouring of rain again. I was like, oh, I'm over this. And Ozzy's a bit of a happy chappy at the moment. The poor thing hasn't really been able to get out much and have his big walks and things. It's quite funny because speaking to a lot of the locals and friends and family, everyone's complaining about the weather and how much rain that we've had. It's just been crazy. But everyone's like, wow, we're going to have a really good asparagus season this year. All we need is a bit of sun. And yeah, there'll be so much asparagus, wild asparagus. So I suppose there's always a silver lining, and yeah, the Sardinians are looking towards having an abundant wild asparagus season. So who knows, maybe in the next few weeks we will be blessed with some sunshine and have some lovely wild asparagus to pick. And I can see in amongst all these pretty little yellow wildflowers that we've got lots of wild fennel, and I will need to ask my uncle if this is the wild fennel that you can actually eat. But the smell of it is delicious. It is so strong, and I know that a lot of people do cook with the wild fennel. I'm just not sure if it's this or maybe it's a plant that mimics fennel. I'm not sure, so I'm probably best checking and making sure before I start cooking and maybe poisoning everyone. It's strange sometimes when I walk around like our town and I pass a church almost every day, and to think that there's been, at least that I can remember and can count anyway, at least 5 generations of our family that have been married, baptised, funerals, communions, confirmations, like everything at this church behind us. I know the church goes back to at least the 1100s because they found the remains or the foundations of a castle, or the castle walls underneath. So there's a lot of history and a story that belongs to this church. So I want to actually find out a little bit more because, yeah, I'm just really curious about it now. So just got in from walking the dog, and I think I'm just going to have a cooking day. There's not much that we can do outside. Everything's just really muddy, really wet, and yeah, it's just a bit of a rubbish, slow Sunday. So I'm going to pop together a lasagna. I made some ragu the other day and it's just been in the fridge. I need to use it up, so I'm going to use that. Luca has just asked me if I can put the ham and peas through it, and I know you're probably thinking that's a bit odd in a lasagna, but it's a recipe that one of my aunts from Calabria has always done her pasta al forno or lasagna like that. So I don't know if it's maybe a Calabrian version of lasagna. I've got another aunt who's from Puglia, and I think she used to put boiled egg through it or mortadella. But anyway, I think each region in Italy has got their own sort of version of lasagna. So this is what I make sometimes. The kids absolutely love it. So it's only Luca and I here at the moment, so I'll give him what he wants and spoil him a little, and yeah, make my pea and ham lasagna. Sounds a bit odd, but it's really yum. So I've just had a look, and Luca is definitely out of luck because we don't have any peas, which is unusual because there's always a bag of frozen peas in the freezer. Who doesn't have peas? Anyway, this is going to be a bit of a cheap lasagna because I've been a bit lazy and I've just bought the pre-made bechamel, which is fine. I use this quite a bit, it's absolutely fine. So I've got my bechamel, and I really like using the fresh lasagna sheets, and they do, Arana's the brand of this one, which I prefer, and they're very thin pasta sheets, so I'm going to use them. And then I've got my ragu that I made the other day, so I'm going to use that up. So it's just a case of putting it together. I have done videos over the past year or so where I have done the lasagna like in various different ways. I think the last one I done was with the artichokes, and that was delicious. So yeah, if you want to see the recipe for the sauce that I've made or the lasagna, just flick through some of the past videos and you'll find the recipe and the method there. So just something else I tend to do when I'm putting the lasagna into the oven is, before I put the foil on, I just pop some baking paper on, and it just stops the cheese on top from sticking to the foil when you take the foil off, because that is like the best part, is the cheese. Well, I think so anyway, the cheese in the top when it goes all crispy and bubbly. So I'm going to pop this on and then pop the foil on and just stick it in the oven, and this has seriously been like the easiest lasagna that I've made today, but it's been great because I've been able to use up a lot of all the odds and sods that I've had in the fridge. So yeah, super quick and easy lunch for Luca and I today. And this is the finished result. I may have had a little nibble from this corner just to see how it tastes, and it tastes absolutely awesome. So I've just divvied it up into portions, so there's like 8 portions here. So yeah, this will probably last us for a couple of days anyway, or not. With Luca it might only be a day. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how this is turned out. So I have had quite a few questions through on the channel just asking about food, and you know, if being here in Sardinia the only cuisine you can get is Italian food. And I would say, yeah, the major part, like 90% of like the food in the restaurants that you get is obviously Italian. We are in Italy. However, if you go into the bigger cities I did notice the last time I was in Cagliari, there was a number of sushi restaurants which seemed to have popped up everywhere. Even here in Oristano, we've got, must be close to half a dozen different sushi restaurants that do a bit of everything, a little bit of Thai, a little bit of Chinese, Japanese. It's not like the Asian food that I know. Like obviously in Australia, we're very, very spoiled with, you know, Southeast Asian cuisines. But it's as close as what you're gonna get if you just want a different flavour, and sometimes you do. I mean, it's just natural when you're used to having so many different cuisines: Mexican, Thai, Japanese, Chinese, Indian, Spanish, like there's just so many. So I think maybe our taste buds are a little bit different. So what do we do when we can't, you know, just get these types of food on tap like what we were used to? Is we really have to just improvise and make everything from scratch. I never used to cook like Chinese or Japanese or anything in the house, not even really Indian food, because you know, you can go out and you can get the real deal, and when I made it at home it just wasn't the same. However, we have started to make lots and lots of different things that we never used to, so I suppose that is a good thing. A lot of the ingredients we bring back from the UK when we go over to the UK. They're just a lot more readily available. But you can find some things now in the bigger supermarkets which you couldn't do, you know, years ago. They just didn't keep anything like that, not even like minute noodles and things. So now you can find, I wouldn't say everything, but you can find like the basics anyway. So yeah, today I wanted to try a flatbread recipe that I'd seen on whose cooking show? I think it was Prue Leith, and she had a guest on there and she was making some homemade flatbreads. So I've got the idea to make some flatbreads because that's something else that we can't seem to get here, and I'm going to give that a go. I do have most of the ingredients, I think, so I'm going to have a go and see if I can do them. And I bought some steak yesterday from the butcher, so this is really fresh, beautiful steak. So I think we will grill them and then just finely slice them and pop them in the flatbreads with some rocket and sweet onion and some salad. I might do like a little tomato salad for the side, and that's something else that we've got for lunch. And yeah, So I'm going to marinate the steak. I've just got some basil, what is this called? Rosemary. I've got some rosemary, I've got some garlic, I have got some olive oil still, and just season it, maybe some chili flakes, and pop it in a Ziploc bag and just pop that in the fridge. And we might even have these for dinner tonight. I'm not sure. I did say lunch, but maybe the pasta will be enough at lunchtime. But anyway, it is cook-off Sunday, so I'm just going to cook it all off and we'll eat it when we eat it. So I'm following a recipe for flatbreads off of the internet. I will put the link up because obviously it's not my recipe, but it's basically double O flour, salt, baking powder, no yeast, which is great, some sugar, and that's it. So the recipe says I need to make a well in the middle, which I've done. I've just mixed through the dry ingredients. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 175 mils of cold water. And then I think I need to just mix it into a dough, add more water if I need it, and then just knead it out, let it rest for 10 minutes. So I think the baking powder acts as a rising agent in this, so it doesn't take a lot of time to actually make it. It's a really quick one. And yeah, it's the first time doing this, so I will see how it turns out, but fingers crossed. Yeah, it goes to pan. So I've kneaded out the dough and it says to let it rest for 10 minutes. So I'm going to let it rest for 10 minutes and then roll it out. I've got a griddle pan here, so I'm going to try and just heat a little bit of oil, get the griddle pan really hot, and then just pop the flatbreads in, and yeah, hopefully it turns out the way it shows you in the YouTube videos. So fingers crossed. So I can see that there's bubbles forming, so it's going to be ready to flip. I am so pleased with how this recipe has come out. It was just one of those random recipes that I saw on the internet and decided to try. So I've just sliced up the steak that I marinated before. I've popped on some, what have I put on? Like a Greek sort of yogurt sauce, and some rocket, and yeah, it is absolutely delicious and definitely one that I'll be doing again, I think many times. Might even be nice, like, you know, like your dipping breads for your curry, like maybe like a cheap naan. But yeah, really, really pleased with this. Anyway, it has been a full-on cooking Sunday. So much for having a slow Sunday. It has been slow, but full of cooking. I think I've done enough now. So I'm going to eat this, and I will see you all again next week.